Hi, I'm Sheena Larson, and today I'm going to be going over centrifugation flotation, which is a method that we use to recover parasite ova and cysts. So to start off with, I'm going to collect roughly 2 grams, about half a teaspoon of the fecal material that I have here. So roughly this much. And I'm going to put it into my collection cup. For the solution that I'm going to be using is Seether's sugar solution. So I'm going to be using 15 mils, which I have measured out here. And I'm going to form an emulsion. So I'm just mixing everything together and making sure that it's a nice uniform consistency. Now I'm going to strain the emulsion into this other cup that I have here. I'm just going to use a funnel to try to make sure that everything stays contained. And this is going to prevent more of the gross material from draining into our final fecal solution, which we're going to centrifuge. And I'm just going to use the tongue depressor to kind of encourage the liquid to drain into the cup. Then I'm going to dispose of the used cheesecloth and the first cup and tongue dispenser. And I'm left with this emulsion here, which I'm going to put into our centrifugation tube or test tube. Unfortunately, all we have are 6 mil test tubes, not the 15 mils, but I'm going to be working with what we have at the clinic. There we go. And I have these here to keep everything clean. So I have the test tube labeled with the dog's name, the date, and what is in the test tube. And now I'm going to set the centrifuge in preparation for the flotation. So right now it is set for when we centrifuge blood. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to reduce the time to 5 minutes and RPMs of 1500. To use the centrifuge, I want to have a balance. So this test tube has already been filled with Seether's sugar solution so that they're going to be roughly the same weight. And I want to set them directly across from each other. And then I lock the centrifuge and I start it, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes. So now that the centrifuge has finished, I'm going to very gently collect the sample. The centrifuge that we have at the clinic is unfortunately a fixed angle centrifuge, not a variable angle centrifuge. So I'm going to be doing a slightly different method. So I'm going to very carefully, so as to not disrupt the sediment, transfer it over to my workstation, which I had cleaned up in the 5-minute break. And I'm going to very carefully, to not disturb anything, put it there. Now I'm going to use the Sheather's solution to form a meniscus, or a little bit of a fluid bubble on top of the centrifuge, or on top of the centrifuge tube. So I'm just going to very carefully add a couple of drops. Until it's right at the top of the test tube. And a slight bubble has formed at the top. That's the meniscus. All right. So now I'm going to grab a cover slip and rest it on top the meniscus there. This has to wait for 5 to 10 minutes. So the ova or cysts are going to rise up to the surface and collect in that fluid that's attached to the cover slip. So in 5 to 10 minutes, let's go 10 minutes, I will transfer it over onto my microscope slide. So now that the 10 minutes has passed, I'm going to transfer the cover slip onto my microscope slide, and the microscope slide is again labeled so that we know which animal this sample belongs to. So I'm just going to carefully lift the cover slip and transfer it onto the slide, like so. And now it's ready to be examined underneath the microscope.